All right, in Exodus 5, after Moses is confronted by these elders and foremen of the Israelite people after they went and pled their case to Pharaoh and were yelled at and called lazy, he turns to God. Right thing to do. And he's having some doubts. He's having some struggles. And I think his response is honestly not bad in some ways. And in some ways, he glossed over some things God told him. So when we are struggling, when we don't understand, I think it is perfectly fine to go to God and say, Lord, I don't understand. Lord, I don't know what you're doing. Lord, I just don't get it. So here we are with Moses on his face before God, struggling with what to do next. And this is brought to light in just verses 22 and 23. It says, Then Moses went back to the Lord and protested, Why have you brought all this trouble on your own people, Lord? Why did you send me? Ever since I came to Pharaoh as your spokesman, he's been even more brutal to your people, and you have done nothing to rescue them. So, it's a good question. Why have you brought this trouble on your people? And it's good that Moses went to God and even went to God boldly. I think it's fine to go to God boldly when we don't understand. He is God. He is big enough to handle your questions. He's big enough to handle your cares and your concerns. We can take those to Him. We can be honest with Him. Now, in doing that, God is big enough to handle it. But I think sometimes one of the things that we don't do is we don't see the bigger scope of life, in that at moments God is going to bring us through difficulty to mold us and bring us to be the people He calls us to be. So I think sometimes if you're a Christian and you think life's always going to be easy and great and perfect, you're absolutely fooling yourself. That's not the experience that we see men and women of God have in the Bible. That's not the experience of, in the book of Judges, Deborah and Barak. That's not the experience of Mary, the mother of Jesus. That's not the experience of Mary and Martha and Lazarus. I mean, there were bad things. There were difficult times. It was tough. So here, Moses did right speaking his heart, but I think he glossed over some of the things of what God had said. He says to him there in verse 22, Why did you send me? In this testing time here, fears came crashing in on Moses, the same fears that he had at the burning bush. I'm not the right one. I'm not the man you should send. Even the idea that, God, will you really come through? You know, he thought Pharaoh and the Egyptians were too strong. So these old fears come crashing back in on him, and that's common, okay? That is common. And how we deal with those fears in that moment is what separates the faithful from the faithless, okay? That's just how it works. So Moses probably thought in his mind everything was going to be okay. But the big thing to remember, God told him at the burning bush that it was going to take a lot for Pharaoh to let him go. It was going to take a lot. And also remember, God here is not just going to deal with Pharaoh, He's also dealing with Israel. He is building them into a people fit for His name, a people that are going to be fit to inhabit the promised land and see the covenant lived out. It's all part of the plan. So Moses just felt like everything was going to be super easy, no bumps in the road, everything was going to be perfect. I'm going to go in, we're going to do this, and we're going to leave. No. And that's not how life is for us. God is a refining fire that develops us into the people He wants us to be, and that will sometimes be done through difficulties. See you later.